Oh man, I don't know why I don't hear the intro, but this is the intro right here because I don't have time to fix it right now. So this is what I get for messing with my audio earlier today. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the intro you guys are gonna get. It is November 18th, and tough shit this week. Sorry guys. Um, we'll look at that and see why. But looks like Kevin left. Man, this show's off to a rough start. So I'm just gonna leave now.
Am
Oh,
I muted?
no, you're not. You're
Oh,
not.
okay.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
My
man.
yeah. Hey, yeah. I don't know what's going on. None of my What? Let's see if this plays.
I got a good. I got. Where's Kevin at?
Nothing's playing there. Let's see here. There he is. Here, let me bring him back into the room. Kevin.
What up, though?
Dang, this podcast is starting off like Richard's week last week.
I tell you, man.
Right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think.
Richard sucks at technology is the name of this one.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You're the only reason that he gets on the air.
let's see here.
We don't care what R. Kelly did.
Did I say anything racist this time? You better get out of here, honky.
And now for something completely different.
I got moves, man. Well, two honks and Kim just messing around. You'll never know what they talk about on two honks. Two honks and Kevin. You might hear something about the NBA. Maybe they'll just make your day on two honks and Kevin. It's sports and life and family too. Let's all listen to two honks and a Kevin. Yeehaw! Just crap my pants.
All right, that was just podcast gold you heard there, guys. I had to on the spot fix a computer problem there. So I think I already gave the date, November 18th. What's up, Kevin?
Not much.
Hey,
What up?
for a minute, I was like, can I not hear Kevin now?
Might be delayed.
I got blank here. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
man.
up?
Not much. Sorry about that. I've been in meetings all week, so I had an extra device plugged in. So I unplugged it and everything worked. So good.
There you go. well, we made it. We live,
We're alive. Thank you.
We
and
live.
we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So I guess we
Let's
just
read the.
so last Monday I got my booster shot and I felt kind of shitty afterwards, and the shitty feeling kind of kept going, and I kind of was like I wasn't sure what was going on, so I didn't feel terrible. But Wednesday I felt like horrible as the day went on. Wednesday, that's when I text you guys like, "Hey, I don't
Yeah.
do the show this week. It's just I feel like garbage." I think we ended up doing the show earlier that day because
Yeah.
what was happening was as the day would progress, I was getting worse, and then I was like, when 9 o'clock hits, I'm not going to be useful to anybody at that time.
So you were feeling pretty rough Wednesday during the show?
I was not feeling well at all. Like I was just like, just not doing too well. And
Right.
Thursday rolled around and I felt a little better. I was able to actually get up. I actually went and did some stuff. I had the day off, so
Yeah. You had your
um,
daughter's birthday, right?
it was my daughter's. It was my daughter's birthday. We had family over,
Yeah. You had family over.
party. It was a good day.
Richard has done everything correct up until this point. You poor guy.
And Friday rolled around, and I was feeling kind of crappy Friday, and I was like, man, I wonder if it's just allergies. It's starting to get cold again. It's just
Yeah.
things happening, and I'm pretty sure I just don't feel well. And then I wanted to go to because that was the day we were supposed to go see Chappelle. And I was like, man, I want to go, but I'm going to be around all these people. And then I started thinking, shit, I should at least do my due diligence and test myself at home. Just so I can say, just in case poor Blake gets it, I could be like, I tested myself. You didn't get it from me 100%.
Right.
I knew that if I showed up sick, you guys were going to know I was sick. Like there was no way of me showing up hiding it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if I show up sick and then Blake gets COVID, that's on me. Like whether it's Blake or Kevin or whoever, like, right?
Right.
So that's why I was like, I got to test myself. I tested myself and it was like, there was no doubt. Like those lines were boom, you got it, you son of a bitch. So I was like, all right, let me test it again. So I waited.
Yeah. Hold on. Can we pause right here? Is the test like pregnancy test lines?
So yeah,
What's up, Jared?
So the way the test runs is it's the ones that you got in the mail, right? So the way you run the at-home test is they give you a little vial of liquid, and you put it on like a little stand that they give you, and you take a swab, and so you swab your nose, each nostril like 4 times, and then you put the swab in the little liquid thing, and you kind of stir it, and then you let it set for about 1 minute, and then after that you have like a test strip in there, and then there's 2 lines. The blue line is the control test. That just means it's working, and then the second line, which is a pink line, is like you're fucking pregnant with COVID.
You have such a way of putting it.
Yeah.
Hey, luckily this pregnancy only lasts about a week if you're lucky.
You got COVID.
Or it can last a lifetime if you get the shit into the stick.
Man.
Yeah, for real. Or end a lifetime.
Right?
I mean, that's what's crazy.
That's when I text you guys at because I did the first test at like 1 o'clock, and then so I gave an hour, and I was like, well, these things aren't, I heard like stories of them, recalling some of these. So I was like, let me give it about an hour and try it again and just see what happens. And did it again. Yep, you got it. So that's
still pregnant.
That's right. And so, then I found out I had COVID. Right. We'll get into all of that later. So I called my wife and I was like, hey, I need to tell you something.
Oh, man.
I was like,
I'm pregnant.
That's right. I got COVID babies in my nose. And, you guys have been hanging out with me all week. So, so she was like, okay, whatever, her and the kids all felt fine. So when they got home, we went and got tested at the med check.
Okay.
So I took my son, and then
whole family
take our daughter the next day.
Okay.
So that's how it was going to roll. So I was like, me and my son were going to go that night. Her and my daughter were going to go in the morning. So my son and I, we go get tested. When I get there, they're freaking out because I'm like, hey, I did an at-home COVID test. It came back positive. And like the person at the front desk was like, you're not supposed to be here. And I was like, I did an at-home test and I need to confirm with the doctor that I have COVID. Right? Because it's like the at-home test is okay, but, work and stuff, they're not going to accept, that. So, so she kind of like is like beside herself that I came into the medicine place to get medicine. So, so she's like, I said, well, go talk to the doctor. And the doctor is like, yeah, we got to test him. He can't just rely on an at-home test.
Right.
She comes up. She's like, I'm really sorry about that. Because, they kind of had like an attitude with me. And I wasn't feeling good. So I was like, my governor was off. Like, I was just like, no, I got my son with me. I don't know what's going on. I need you to tell me if I have this or not, because this is going to flip my life upside down for a week.
Right.
Right. So we go in the back. The lady has 2 swabs with her. She does the swab with me and the son, takes the swabs like this down the hall, doesn't label them, doesn't do anything. Just is like, I'm going to test these and you'll get your thing in my chart, right? Which is the medical thing. Go online and you can check your test results and all that with community hospitals.
You did exactly what I did to be able to go to the concert. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So I go ahead and my kid and I drive home, and I'm trying to calm my son down. I'm like, look, I'm sure you don't have it. And then he's like, he's also concerned because I have it. And he's like, are you going to be okay? You're not going to die. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to die from it. Like, we're fine. We're fine. But I mean, he's 11. So it's like,
Yeah.
Dad's got some bullshit. And, so
It's
I
cancer
go
to him at this age.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and, it's,
Yeah.
and so-
He's only heard bad things about this, and now his dad's got it,
well, yeah, I mean, and to be fair, at home, we do provide a semblance of calmness about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah, I got you.
And so I go home and I'm like, I tell my wife, look, I'm going to take a shower. The test results will probably come in while I'm in the shower. I get out of the shower. My wife knocks on the door. She said, your test was negative. And I was like, all right, I guess I just feel like shit. And I miss Chappelle for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And she knocks on the door again. And she said, Jacobs was positive.
Oh.
And I said, I guarantee you they flipped the fucking results. You're going tomorrow with Jacob. And you're going to get him tested without me there. And we're going to see who his results are. Because remember how I said she took the swabs like this down the hallway, popped them in the test. No labels, no nothing. So next day, my wife's going to take my daughter anyway. So she just has my son tag along. Like, fuck it.
And you're just taking the instant test. You didn't want to do the PCR test?
We took the instant test. If the instant test come, they'll do the second test as confirmation. But yeah, we did the 15-minute test.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and at this point, I've already tested myself twice at home. And it was positive.
Right. And it's
this confirmation, right? So
right. Yeah. And it's a very similar test from what it sounds like, from what you're explaining as the home test is to what they do in the clinic.
Right. It's just it coming from a doctor. I could be like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
So my wife is like, well, they're going to see him while they see us. Like, so she takes my son, all three of them get tested, all three of them get negative results.
Dude.
So I go back 2 hours later and I talk to the doctor and I'm like, look, you guys flipped our results around. And, if I hadn't been, thinking about it, we would have done the totally wrong thing. Cause I went to go see, I would have gone and seen Chappelle. I would have went to Monday Night Raw. I would have had another birthday party for my daughter.
Yeah.
So the doctor was not happy. I mean, she wasn't the one that did it. She wasn't even there that night. So she was just like, that's really concerning.
Yeah.
So she went in and took my test. I was positive. So I was like, okay, that's kind of what I figured it was.
Well, yeah, because it was pretty obvious the fact that you two tests at home and they're both positive.
And I had
to go to the doctor and you're negative and he's positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a no-brainer.
I have all the symptoms. Like he's got nothing. He's chill.
Yeah.
So wife and kids are I got COVID. My wife comes to me and she's like, hey, I'm moving in with my mom for while you have COVID.
Like, see ya.
She's like, part of me was like, kind of party, but if I die alone, I guess. I don't know.
Richard immediately went and grabbed a game controller. He was like, bye. He's like, I've been waiting for this.
I went to GameStop.com and had DoorDash deliver me video games.
Richard lived like a king this week. He threw his punch card away. He goes, I don't even need this right now.
Video games.
Don't even need to worry about it.
Video games and Lysol wipes were at your door within an hour.
That's right.
For sure.
So I tested negative Monday. And
wow. So Friday
as of Friday I was positive. Monday I was negative. I tested myself yesterday again. It was positive.
Yeah.
It was negative again. So
good.
My wife and kids came home yesterday because I tested positive twice within after a 24-hour span. Negative. Said I'm negative, so come on home.
Wow. Okay.
So, I felt really shitty for like maybe 3 or 4 days.
Really? That seems to be the time frame for those that get over it quickly. My brother-in-law is an exception. He struggled with it for weeks, but So that's good. So I know it sounds weird, but do you think the booster kind of triggered something and kind of
I probably
gave it to you?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. Was Friday I went to the movie theater. Saturday I went to go see Dave Attell. The following Friday I was positive for COVID. So I'm thinking it's probably going to a sold out comedy show may have done it.
Yeah, could have been. Hey, your immune system may have got shocked by, all those crowds, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. That's wild. So, I mean, do you feel like it was hell and as bad as you thought it would be, or was it just like a really bad cold?
Yeah, it's like a really bad head cold. Like I'd wake up okay, and then as the day would go on, I'd slowly feel worse and worse and worse, and just more tired. And so, like, I would take a shower at noon because I knew, like, when 9 o'clock hit, it was like I'm just in front of TV watching Netflix.
Yeah, getting some rest.
How many of those days did you work from home?
I've worked every day. I haven't missed a day of work.
Oh, nice.
I didn't go into work, but I've been able to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've worked every day. I haven't missed a day. As a matter of fact, I had 2 12-hour days, Monday and Tuesday. So,
man.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I sent it to the computer. It's not like it's.
Yeah. I got you.
To see if I'm just like
if you're puking and running to the toilet and.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't throw up once. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have anything like that. I had like a bad head cold, and that's really was the extent of it. And I was kind of tired. I think I had a night where Tuesday night, I think it was, I was up to about 3 or 4 in the morning because my chest kind of hurt and my arm hurt. And so
that's weird. Just
I don't know if I'm gonna need to call 911 or
right. Was your appetite?
But do you think that was from the booster or was it from being sick?
So the booster effect should have only lasted like a day or two. So I don't know what I mean. The Pfizer doesn't cause myocarditis. I think it was the other one, Moderna, that was that
Moderna,
does.
Yeah.
And that's why they're having such a hard time getting the 5 to 11-year-old range approved with Moderna.
Right. So now, do you think that you've reached your level of Super Saiyan because you got your shots, your booster, and your natural immunity?
Dude, I lost 50 pounds. I take vitamins. I say my prayers. I work out 4 or 5 days a week. I had 3 shots, and I've had COVID.
And you do yoga, it looks like.
He's like, bring it.
That's my yoga mat. Yep, that's my yoga mat. That's exactly what that is.
Richard has finally become a comic hero. He's the COVID man. Fully protected. I got all the antibodies.
What were you more sad you missed out on? Working out, Chappelle, or Raw?
That's hard.
That's the worst. It's the worst. It's the or your I should say or your daughter's birthday, but sometimes that makes it no fair when you throw kids in the mix. But it really was the worst week to get sick. Don't you hate that too? And like my boy Chris is coming home. I have 2 dates this weekend. I was scared to death. I was gonna get sick, and then I've got a wedding December 18th or something, and I'm like. Those are only 2 dates, like because that one's got money tied to it, you know. So, but yeah, what a rough week, man.
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, it was what it was. I was just kind of bummed out, but it's over with now. So,
well, let's talk about that Dave show.
Yeah.
I guess we really haven't talked about it, have we? I mean, even in text, I just kind of figured. Richard, I don't know if you would have liked it.
Okay.
I don't know. I've got now that I'm removed.
Is it because the crowd?
No, I didn't care about the crowd. Well, okay, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk. Okay, all right, let's talk this out. So first of all,
let's talk about walk in first.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm going to get to. Okay, so for everyone. So Friday night, we're going to the Dave concert. Our boy Richard basically throws this together for us, sets it all up for us. We find out Friday he's got COVID. So, oh crap, we do the scramble. I hit up my brother-in-law dirty. He really wasn't able to get out of work in time, so he couldn't go. We called a couple other people, And then eventually we all know Robbie Holt, my buddy Rob from high school. We hit him up. So he meets us at the arena. So we're walking up. They immediately take our phones from us, like right when you almost get into the arena. And they do that so no one records the content.
From you, you put it into a bag and you carry it around.
Good call. Yeah, they put it like in this like little case that locks, so you can have it with you, but whatever. So we're kind of standing in the middle of the entrance, and we can't get a hold of Rob. And all of us are kind of like in this weird phase of like, dude, it's weird not having your phone. Like it's in my hand, but I can't do anything on it. I can't contact. Yeah. I guess we probably could have talked to Siri. Maybe Siri could have sent a text, but. Yeah. I wasn't that smart at that point. So anyway, so we're, kind of like, man, maybe Robbie is at the seat because he drove separate, so we couldn't get a hold of him or whatever. So anyway, so we're just kind of sitting there and waiting. And then before that, there's a guy runs by and he's got a MAGA hat on, Make America Great hat on. And, it's obviously typically red, kind of, rough looking white guy, and then behind him is another guy.
Blake, what was your first words when you saw him? No. Blake, what were your words when you saw him? What did you say?
I think I probably said something like that ain't good or or something. I can't remember what. Do you remember what I said?
You were coming down the steps. Because you went to the bathroom.
Blake was like, they can look sketchy, like they're looking for trouble or something.
It made me nervous. Yeah, it made me nervous. Like because the guy behind him was like putting his belt back on. Yeah, so I'm assuming
the metal detector.
Yeah, going through the metal detector. So they're kind of jogging, and I'm just like, this kind of looks like a Proud Boy moment at this point.
Yeah.
So which if the guy didn't, what's sad about this is if the guy didn't have the MAGA hat on, I probably wouldn't have thought anything. But I just saw that hat and just assumed somebody was up to no good. So anyways, he runs up
Safe assumption.
He runs. So this guy, the two guys, they run up the steps, and at the top of the steps there was tables, and they have Dave Chappelle masks that you can just you didn't have to wear them. They were just there, given away. And the dude runs by and he goes, "I'll never wear one," and then just keeps on running. So all night Kevin just kept saying, "I'll never wear one," because they were like, you could tell they were not going to wear that mask, So anyway, so that's how it started off. But so yeah, I mean, I guess just to kind of explain the show, and you guys can jump in whatever you want, but my only issue with the show, it was way too long. Like so Jeff Ross came out. He was hilarious, cracked some jokes. And then this other lady came out, black lady. She was a dyke, and I only know that because she half of her bits were about being a dyke. Well, she said dyke, so I don't know what the proper term is, but she was actually, she was pretty funny. Yeah, she was funny. So after that, it basically goes into this documentary, which I think all of us kind of like, we knew that there was going to be a screening. Is that Kevin trying to get back in?
Yeah, I'll let him in.
I'll pause here. Yeah, all right, there he is. So there was the screening of the show. I know we all kind of talked about it last week, how we really didn't know what we were exactly what we were going to be viewing, but we knew that there was some type of documentary involved. So they showed the whole documentary, which, what's good. I mean, it talked about the George Floyd thing, talks about, COVID, but the main thing is that it was Dave talking about how he was trying to put shows on during COVID at this house with the cornfields, like this, there's like all this property or whatever. But then there were some zoning laws. Neighbors were getting mad because they're playing loud music, saying language that they shouldn't be saying or whatever, kind of pissing off a lot of old white people. Yeah. So, they kind of go through that, them fighting, being able to put on those shows and all that. And then, I guess it kind of wraps up, from there. And then it's, I think, 10, 15-ish, if I remember looking down at my watch. So we started at 7. It is now roughly 10:15, and we finally see Dave. And I literally remember thinking to myself, I'm too tired to even laugh right now. Like I don't even like I was just sitting in this seat, just whatever, So so he kind of comes out and what did he give us? About 15, 20 minutes, guys?
About 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
which
then
was expected.
Right. Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, it's not like he was going to give us an hour set. We knew that.
Yeah, I guess I just, for some reason, I kind of thought it might have been more of like a, not necessarily like a question and answer thing, but just more of a like, maybe even talking about the documentary, talking about, I don't know. I did, once again, we didn't really know what to expect, but regardless, he gave us, 20 minutes, gave us a few bits or whatever. And then he brings on Method Man and Redman. And I mean, dude, after the third song, I was only waiting around to see if Dave was going to come back out. And I'm just looking at my guys. We're all just looking at each other like the performances weren't bad, like the rapping and all that. Yeah. It was just them telling us how great they are in between every song.
1993. We wrote this song in 1993.
Yeah.
We
Let me set this up, Richard. Richard, it was basically like, you got to think of the time period when Redman and Method Man were popular. It was mid-90s, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody, probably 60% of the audience don't know who these guys are, right? So they're not getting claps and stuff like you would expect.
But some of them probably know them from like How High and that music.
For the demographic that was there, they knew them because it's mainly older. It's mainly our generations. I feel like it wasn't like a whole lot of kids. So
it wasn't a lot of 19, 20-year-olds.
I feel like they weren't thinking that they were getting the love that they deserve. So it was like they were pooling. They're like, we never sold out to the industry and blah blah blah. We're the greatest and blah blah blah. Clap and clap. But this went on for maybe it was an hour concert, right?
Yeah,
easily. It was a solid 45 minutes.
No, it was an hour. I mean, they probably did 8 songs that and like you said, after 3, I was like, do How High and let's get Dave back up here.
Like, that's right. I'm only sticking around for Dave.
Dave ended by singing. Yeah, Dave ended by singing just it was just random rap songs.
Yeah, random rap, Jadakiss and.
So now this is
he did a big
go ahead, Kevin.
It's All a Dream.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say
he did Big Daddy Kane. It was Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah, there you go. I think you're on a slight delay, Kevin. But anyways, but like now that I'm kind of removed from it, basically what he did for us is what he was doing in the cornfield. Yep. So because he's bringing out his friends, he was bringing out musical guests just for entertainment. And Kevin kind of alluded to it earlier. Dave kind of said at the end, you can't say I never invited you. So to me, he was inviting us to his culture, to his love, his creativity, his that's kind of what I honestly, when I left there, I was mad. I was like, this was a waste of my time. I'm tired. Like Method Man and Redman just literally wore me out and made me stupider with some of their comments, but it's Dave, he still makes it special, I guess.
Right. Going back to the documentary, he basically he provided you what he did for the summer of 2020 in a podunk small town that he lives in, Yellow Springs, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
The good things that he did do was he rocked the neighborhood and they were loud and all that. He did bring $9 million to their community,
right?
During business at a time that most of the businesses would have been closed, especially where they're at on the map in Ohio. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that was one of the positive things. Go ahead.
Tell me what you guys felt like. What were your emotions like when you kind of like relived like the early stages of COVID and like what kind of memories did that kind of like bring back to you guys? Like, Richard, you watched it at home, right?
No.
The doc.
The doc's not out, is it?
Oh, I thought you sent us a screenshot like you were going to watch it at home.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. But Blake, Kevin, what were your thoughts on like when you saw like the kind of like we don't know what's going on stage of COVID? Like what were you guys' thoughts? That because it kind of brought back like some like weird emotions for me, kind of like thinking back to that time of.
Yeah. I guess I just feel like we're still there. Like the confusion is still there. You know what I'm saying? In the I mean, I guess it's probably more divided now than it's ever been. You know, I don't know. And once again, it's just become such a public thing, you know, and it's become such a clickbait thing, and it's become it's literally just, there's probably a million different things going on in this world right now that's amazing, you know, and inspiring, you know, but we're all focused on this because it drives revenue, and it's a serious matter. So, but I honestly, if I was watching that documentary at home, I probably would have turned it off. I kind of got bored with it, you know, at one point. But then again, I'm sitting in a little seat, you know, I'm 3 hours in, you know, so
after a long day of work, then rushing down to the state.
Yeah, I was finding myself getting tired. That's why I said when Dave came on, I was like, I'm almost too tired to even laugh right now. You know, go ahead, Kevin.
This is kind of awesome because we take it totally different. So even our perspective on how COVID was then. I feel like back then on COVID, like that summer, it felt slow. It felt slower than what it is right now. Like every day felt like Groundhog Day. Every day was the same. Like I don't know if you guys remember that. Like it felt like time moved so slow, and we were just waiting every day to hear something good, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more. I feel like people are back to trying to get normal. There's never going to be a normal. We're just doing stuff right now, right? I don't feel like it's as bad as what it was then. I also feel like it was with everything going on, it just made it a very emotional time. Like everybody's feeling were on their sleeve, and it's like that. No, but I feel like I think that time during COVID, I think everybody thought it was more of the end of days, so they thought that they were going to get they thought that they needed to get their point across, and so that's why it felt so emotional. If you can get what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it kind of brought back those emotions as well. Like, it reminded me of, like, Groundhog's Day, of, like, everything's the same. Everybody's staying home. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's, nothing, kind of just, like, chilling in the yard, playing outside, But then, like, at the same time, it, like, I don't really know. It just kind of, because for me, when I think back, that's, shortly after I had COVID. So like it also, it stirs up.
It's probably it may have been a more scary of a time for you because you caught it at the very early stages. Nobody knew what it was. Yeah, that should leave a little bit of a scar or whatever.
That's why it was kind of like weird emotions to like go back to that like super like everybody sitting 20 feet apart in a little circle and two people at a time, like, all that. I mean, we're not that now, obviously,
right.
We're going out to restaurants, we're going into 20,000 seat arenas and, sitting with people,
Oh, and they also did not care if you had your COVID card for the most part. I mean, there's
6 people standing up there, but they were like, yep,
you're good. You're good. Go. Yeah. So, yeah. There you go. That's kind of the scoop of it, I guess.
It's still kind of surprising that nobody wanted to buy or take that documentary, but I really don't think that's the reason. I think Dave just to put shows together with that.
It's all.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say it's all too perfect for him to release his special, all the backlash, and then already have all these arenas lined up to show a documentary that he says nobody will buy. So everybody wants to go even buy tickets. And I mean, hey, good for him. He beat the system, I guess, or whatever. But I don't know. I there was nothing controversial about that DVD, or that documentary. I was hoping it was going to be some discussions about real life cancel culture stuff, where we're going as a community, as a nation, as a culture, how to turn this to something positive and go forward. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe that's kind of but then again, if it's positive, why wouldn't someone pick it up?
Part in there about George Floyd, because that was going on during that time. But other than that, it was just about fighting back against the town who didn't want him to have the concerts and stuff like that. To me, it felt more like he got told that it probably wouldn't do well in some of these festivals and film festivals and stuff like that. And he was like, well, screw you guys. If you don't think it's going to do well, I could put on 10 shows. Or however, I could put some shows around it, and I can make it successful.
I don't even buy that, because his name alone, he can put on YouTube and get 5 million hits like this. But putting it on YouTube,
everybody watched that Netflix documentary, The Closer. I mean, that Netflix show, The Closer, in a day or two.
Yeah, exactly. And they would have watched this if they released it.
And I bet you Netflix has the exclusive rights to his documentary after he does the tour. You watch.
Well, if he puts it on there. But that's another thing. He probably, from what I understand, and Richard, you may know more about this, when I've heard comedians talk about it, when they do these shows on Netflix, they get nothing. I mean, they obviously get the contract, Theo. Let's say Theo got, I don't know, a couple million or whatever to put a special on Netflix, and then that's it. They own the rights to it, and they won't tell you how many downloads you get or any of that. They keep all that hush hush for negotiation reasonings.
But isn't the money in? Hey, isn't the money in? I'm not just gonna do this one. I'm gonna do a series of a couple.
I mean, that's why music artists, that's how a lot of people make their money, right? They put out an album, and then they go touring, and then a lot of their money gets made to tour. Whereas even with Netflix, right? The comedian puts it out, Netflix gives them $1 million, $2 million for the exclusive rights, and then now the comedian goes on tour, makes, I don't know, $1 million, $2 million more,
right?
Every 5 years.
Yep.
And in terms of them not telling, that's normal for these companies to do that. I know SiriusXM doesn't tell its people how many listeners they have.
Right.
If you were a broadcaster on SiriusXM and you were to go, I mean, of course, Howard Stern would be the difference, but if you were a broadcaster for SiriusXM and you were to say, hey, how many people are listening to my radio, they wouldn't tell you.
No.
Right.
How many cars have that $29.99 automatically renew on a credit card every month? So they what does it really even matter at that point? And that's the same thing for Netflix. It's they're not going to tell you because they want, for negotiation purposes, they don't want to. They don't want to tell you 50 million people have watched your thing, because then next time you can go, yeah, I'm going to need 10 million to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to,
but it's so saturated now. How many people are Netflix going to get because, a comedian suddenly is on there? You know what I mean? Especially if it's a comedian like Theo Von, you can turn on a dozen podcasts and listen to Theo Von jokes, and they're the same jokes typically over and over.
Yeah.
To him, they're funny as shit, but
Yeah, I know a lot of the comedians have been holding on to their material for a couple of years too, because they couldn't do their specials last year. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
I think for eyeballs though, I feel like YouTube would be the best because it's free. I mean, I know most people, have Netflix, but then again, you're going to get a check from Netflix where you won't necessarily get a check from YouTube. But like I know Shane Gillis, he released his on Facebook, and I think it's got like 2.5 or 3 million views or something like that, which he never would have got if he put it on Netflix. More than likely. So, and then he said, in return, his shows have been selling out, so that's where he's making his money. So it all works out, I guess.
And that's the whole purpose of having, they do podcasts, right? A lot of these people now do a podcast. There are podcasts, right, that they have their show, but then they go tour, and that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
same with the musicians. That's where they make bank, is on tour. Where they get a large percentage of the revenue of the gate and the merch sales, as opposed to and that's why you've seen music people go independent and put their music out on SoundCloud and put their albums release it via streaming services, because instead of having the record label like Netflix front you X million dollars, and then you have to pay that back out of your royalties, and then they own it. It's kind of like the whole Taylor Swift thing. I don't know if you guys follow this at any level, but she's re-releasing every one of her albums from previous, because the guy who owned the record company wouldn't sell them to her, even at a crazy dollar amount that she was willing to pay for them. So she's re-releasing that, she's re-recording them and re-releasing them, and they're topping the charts. She just released one on
crazy.
She released Red, one of her really popular albums, from 2012 or something, or 13 or something like that, on Friday.
It's crazy.
And it created a big, huge hubbub, and then she added extra songs, and then there was some dirt on some Hemsworth guy or some guy that she dated, and she threw him under the bus on a song or something. So it's like,
that's all it takes. Make news. All you gotta do is make news.
Owning your own content, and that's what these guys are doing.
So Jared, does she just want to own rights to that music?
Yeah, and that's what she does now. These songs that she's released, and like the Swifties or the Taylorites or whatever her fan club is, they're going and purchasing her new album or downloading it online.
Yeah, to support her.
Other ones, so it jumps in the charts, and she gets paid off of that, and the other guy doesn't.
Yeah, because most of these artists sign a god-awful deal at a young age when they're broke, and then these people get all of their money and they hold it over them forever and ever, and it's sad, man. So it's good. Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy. All right, you guys ready for my barbershop story?
Hold on. The other cool thing about the Chappelle thing was maybe 30 to 40% of it was behind the scenes on the comedians prepare and stuff like that. And it wasn't just Dave. I found the other comedians were more interesting than Dave's stuff, because a lot of them were like going through transitions and making life decisions and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, like there was one point Dave had this female with him on stage, and he was in the back and he was watching her, and he made a comment to the guy next to him. I think something like, she needs to go deeper, or she's holding back. That's it. And she got off the stage, and he was like, "Stop holding back. Let it out. Let it out.
You're not saying something. Say it."
Yeah, whatever that. And not necessarily. I don't think he used the words of, let those insecurities go or whatever, but just give your fans who you really are. Don't hold back. So it's, it's an art, man. That whole comedy, standing up in front of people and trying to make them laugh. I mean, it's not easy.
The next show, it was, I felt like she came off stage and she was like, I felt like that was my best set yet in the whole time I've been doing that. Yeah. And it kind of showed the brotherhood. I mean, I kind of already knew it, but like the brotherhood that was within comedy, where like, yes, you're competing against each other for jokes and for stage time and for eyeballs and what have you, but still at the same time, it's about like, it's about helping and giving, constructive
improving each other
criticism to help somebody else perform their act a little bit better or tweak just the littlest thing, and it would be funnier.
Yeah, exactly. It's better for comedy, all around.
It's better for all of us. Yeah, it's better for the whole audience if all 5 people go out and kill. It doesn't do them any good if somebody comes out and bombs.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, Barbara.
All right, you ready for this? Okay, so I was getting my hair cut by my boy Chad, and he sits. His chair is by the. What up, Chad? His chair is by the cash register. So a lot of the other barbers, always come up cashing people out or whatever. So there's a few there that, will dab me up or whatever, just because they see me all the time, or come up and, chit chat a little bit. So one of the guys' name is Clay. He's a black guy. He's kind of like on the other side of Chad or whatever. But like I said, he'll come up and chit chat. We got to talking about music, like rap music or whatever. And, we were just kind of spitballing, just talking about it. And then Chad, somebody mentioned Eminem. And Chad said, he got his start in church. And I was like, really? I didn't know that. And Clay was the same way. He's like, no, I didn't know that. And then Clay says, do y'all remember DC Talk? and I go, what? DC Talk? And he was like, yeah, man. And, he goes, I used to go to, my grandma used to have me listen to it or something like that. And I was like, and Clay, for listening, much love to you. But, he's kind of rough looking, not someone I didn't think that would, listen to DC Talk, needless to say, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I go, man, my podcast is actually named after one of their songs. He goes, what song? I go, Two Honks and a Negro, and I just kind of said, he kind of like stepped back and he's like, oh yeah, I know. He goes, what'd you say? I go, Two Honks and a Negro. and Chad's like, dude, like, I was like, what? I was like, Two honks and a Negro serving the Lord, like that. And then Clay goes, oh, I see. They threw Jesus in there to make it not racist, And I said, so, we're kind of talking about that or whatever. And I was like, here, man, let me pull up my phone. I'll play the song. So I start playing the song. We're two honks and a Negro serving the Lord. And Chad like hits me. He's like, we can't play that in here. I go, dude, you play Biggie, Tupac, Lil Wayne, and like you play everybody in here. What do you mean? Man? I know, it was so funny. So I go, yeah. Our podcast is Two Honks and Kevin. And he goes, oh, let me guess, Kevin's the Negro. And I was like, yeah. And I immediately said, I gotta text my guys about this. So I did, and Clay was like, look at you writing it down to talk about it on the podcast. I go, I'm going to. So yeah, it was hilarious, dude. I was like, I can't believe I'm having this conversation right now. And it just like it snowballed so quickly with like, just because I was like, oh God, should I not say this? Like, is this really that blackballed right now? But anyways,
the barbershop was not busy that day.
Yeah, it was closing time. So it was funny, man.
Did Chad know who DC Talk was?
I think so. I think he kind of, that's like the one, I guess, Christian rap group that some people might know from the night. It's just like this. Right. They had this weird time and where they were just massive. So yeah, it's just the way it's connected with our name and everything. I was just like, I can't even believe this just happened the way it did. So
that's awesome. We are now canceled.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. So there you go. There's my barbershop story. I know we're almost at the hour, but I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about this Rittenhouse. Is that his name? Rittenhouse?
Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to talk about that situation real quick or not. Has anyone been following it?
I've been following it a little bit just because of how interested I am in the whole situation, and I'm not. It's just a weird case. I mean, right. More than anything, it's like it's comical at some point.
Go ahead.
It's super weird.
Really break it down.
We're just two honks and a Negro
serving the Lord. We're just two hunks and a Negro singing a song.
I mean, if you can do that in the 90s.
Well, for your information, I knew who DC Talk was. I did not know that was the origination of the name of the podcast.
There you go.
I came along a lot later as a reoccurring guest uncle on the show, but nonetheless.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, anyways,
I didn't know who DC Talk was until this.
It came out of Blake and I's love of DC Talk. So
I don't. It's really weird how this relationship has gotten where it is, dude. It still amazes me that we talk like every week. We text literally every day, and I mean, dude, it started 10 years ago. It feels like, it's crazy.
I think it's longer, man.
Brock Lesnar. And I've never deleted. Yeah, that's true. I've never deleted our text messaging thread. So I mean, you
don't have it pinned in the. Do you pin yours?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I've never like really deleted any of our conversations. So if I scrolled, I mean, I would just probably scroll for 3 days to get to the
screenshots,
top.
Huh?
What I do sometimes when I'm looking for something, Richard, you can close your ears because you're an Android, so you don't matter to you. But you can go up and click. You can click on all of our names at the top in the group, and then it'll open up, and you can look at all the links and all the pictures, and then you can just scroll all the way back.
You shut your whore mouth.
he's like Android. He's like Android had that in '99.
So quick, over and over, because they're all I do is recycle it. Is I go and I look at all the pictures and I see which one instead of Blake, and I just go ahead and resend it real quick. And I'll send that one again.
I thought you just had a folder of just all of her names.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Quicker this way.
Richard just automatically says, "Oh, I need that for the archives."
That's right.
Yeah, I'm afraid I never send a picture to you guys, like anywhere I'm at. I'm like, nope. I know I'm gonna end up with something on my forehead or whatever. I don't know.
I almost sent one to the group when you were posting like your family photos of like you and your wife acting funny.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Trying to take my own family pictures. That's always fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Summer of 2009, just for reference, is when we started.
There you go.
2009.
Summer of 2009.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Man, boys, look at us.
My daughter was born in 2007. Yeah, that's a long time.
Really? That's crazy.
My daughter was born in September of 2009.
Yep.
Wow. I probably have one that was born around then too.
No, and then Blake just started having litters after that.
Trying to get that
son. Yeah. Don't Jared and I have the same amount of kids? Don't you have 3? Yeah, there you go. I just made all females.
I feel like you got more, man.
Dude, it's because I have legit litters of animals is what's going on. I got 2 rabbits. I got 2 rabbits over here stinking up my garage right now, which I'm not too happy about.
Noah's Ark over there. You got 2x2.
Well, we tripping over animals.
Yep.
And it's emotional every time one of them dies. Ella's got this beta fish. Like she's got, honestly, dude, Ella's pretty cool when it comes to all that stuff. She's got a 5-legged frog, which I think I told you guys about. She's got a praying mantis that she like feeds and buys earthworms and whatnot for. It's crazy, but she loves it. So it's actually one thing I kind of noticed on vacation is that like a lot of times I will knock her for it. Like, what are you doing bringing bugs in? Or like, I don't really want a frog in the house, but like lately I'm like, you know what, encourage it. Like, to where like, if it's something she's into, then maybe she can find a career, in that field, rather be a vet or whatever, So anyways.
Pretty dope.
I got a zoo. What can I say?
Richard, I didn't watch because I haven't watched in years, but did you watch Raw and did you miss anything that you wish you would have seen while you were there or been
No, I did watch the Hulu version of it, and it wasn't a good episode. So Hulu has the 90-minute version, a condensed version of Raw. So Raw's typically 3 hours.
Jeez. It
And
used to be like
that's
2
just
hours, an hour and a half on Monday nights back when I
That's
watched.
just Raw. That's not other stuff they tape because they also tape like main event or something else.
Yeah.
5 Live. So it's like you're there for 4 or 5 hours if you go to.
And they have a after show too, right? They go out there and
Yeah.
the pre-show, right?
That's what I'm saying. The main event or 205 Live is what it's called now. Where they'll have like the lesser known talent, Russell. So yeah, so I mean, you're there 3 hours for the show, another hour at least for the other tapings. They usually tape a pre-match or two beforehand. So
they don't do NXT there though. For that, do they?
No, NXT is on Tuesday nights now.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think they moved that back to Full Sail. So I think that's being. I don't think it's a Full Sail anymore, actually, but they moved that back to because they were touring for a while.
Yeah,
NXT was, but I think they've
took it back to like the main place in Orlando or wherever.
Yeah, wherever that may be,
Tampa or something. Like
actually, also the crowd was really bad. Like I heard it was not a good crowd. So
what, they were like negative? Or like they just weren't into it.
Yeah, just non-responsive. But it's like, if your show wasn't that good, then
right. I've seen some MMA guys are getting into it. Junior Dos Santos and Cain Velasquez, and
yeah, they have a stable called American Top Team in AEW, and it's Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez, Paige Van
Andre Arlovsky.
Arlovsky's in it. Jorge Magdaval.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's all led by. I don't want to blow his name, but it's like something Lambert, Dan Lambert.
Yeah, Dan Lambert. Yeah, I think he's like a.
Is he a hockey player?
No, I don't know. I thought he was like a legendary, either jiu-jitsu or just MMA guy in general. Maybe. Hold on, let me look.
But yeah, so it's an AEW crew. That they're basically like their whole shtick is that professional wrestlers are shit. Like they're like the real deal.
Oh, really? You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. He is a hockey player.
Okay. He may be a jiu-jitsu guy too. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but yeah.
I think it's weird that a Canadian or a hockey player is. You said he's kind of like the coach of these like MMA guys.
Yeah, he's like the coach, the mouthpiece, so to speak.
Do you think that's going to take off? Do you think it's good?
I like it. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting angle. I mean, and the other thing too is like now you basically have a stable now of guys. Who knows who can show up in that stable now that would pique your interest, right? Like maybe one night Randy Couture shows up. Maybe one night. Who's the guy that just fought that has like the Trump thing going on? Who's that guy?
Colby Covington.
Yeah, maybe he shows up one night.
That's good. Get Chael Sonnen in there. Get Daniel Cormier in there. Like a lot of those
show up. So it kind of introduces an interesting stable of because none of the MMA guys typically have like ironclad contracts that they can't show up. Like they could show up. They may not be able to compete in a match. But like when Jorge Masvidal showed up, he just showed up, punched somebody in the mouth, and then walked out. Like he didn't.
Right. And of course, bar any injuries, I would think it would benefit the MMA, because you get wrestling
it's
fans.
It's benefiting the fighters if they get that more money, Well,
it would cross-pollinate both sports. It should.
Yeah.
I've always felt like wrestling and MMA, whether it be UFC or whatever, could really benefit from each other. Could you imagine a UFC event that didn't even have to be main card or main event, maybe a mid card or the mid main event was like Roman Reigns versus The Rock or just something like, you know what I mean? Like just throw that at a UFC event just for kicks. Or even vice versa.
I could see it vice versa. If you're not a wrestling fan, then I think hardcore MMA fans will probably boo. If you're watching two guys really fight and then you watch two guys fake fight, I don't know how well that's going to do. You know what I'm saying? But it might work the other way around.
Could they real fight at a UFC event and fake fight at a WWE event?
That's for Thriller. I don't think either I don't think either organization probably is, because I don't know. I mean, look, you can do anything, right? But
Right.
I mean, then again, why isn't there a organization that has a match of boxing? The next match is kickboxing. The next match is wrestling. The next match is MMA.
It could cross.
Just different rules. But
why not cross pollinate? I mean, why not just go ahead and do a little bit of everything for everybody? Like if I'm going, like, look, I tell you what, if UFC showed up in Indy and they were like, hey, there's going to be a WWE match in the middle of it, I'm going. I really don't care about the UFC that much. I mean, I keep track of it.
That's interesting. But I wonder how
many people like you, Richard, would be that. I mean, like, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a tough sell.
I think I feel like there are a lot more wrestling fans than there are UFC fans.
But if there's 1,000,
just think of when Brock Lesnar.
You're probably right.
Brock Lesnar did his thing and how it crossed over so well because Brock Lesnar had these WWE stars, The Undertaker, and all these people coming to shows. WWE fans was coming over there to see if this guy could really fight.
But that's why But how many of the MMA fans followed Brock to what he's doing now in WWE? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure during that time, even I was like, right. So, I mean, look, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think there will be a crowd that's just like, I just watched two guys like really, really wrestle. You know, I don't want to watch fake punches right now, but like Richard said, maybe
those people, but I don't think, I think that'll be maybe 10% of the crowd.
Yeah. But if there's 1,000 or 2,000 Richards that would either buy the fight, the pay-per-view, or attend in person, plus on top of the residual people that he would, friends, family, whatever, that he would bring eyeballs to it.
But then
I think UFC, Dana White would be okay with that, and obviously Vince McMahon would be okay with that.
But not necessarily, because who gets the money that night? If that's on a UFC card and you're going to take Roman Reigns, a fight that you can put on WWE that will sell, billion pay-per-views or whatever, why would you go put that on UFC and give them that money?
See the rematch at SummerSlam at the end of the month.
What'd you say? Hold on.
Wrestling merchandise there too. They make a bulk of money off their merchandise sales. They don't give a shit about a Monday Night Raw costs Vince McMahon money. They make no money off of Monday Night Raw. They make all of their money off merchandise sales, TV deals, and that's it. So Vince wouldn't really care about the gate because he's not.
I don't know. That's tough though.
He's not making money on gates. He's never made money on gates.
Really? What's he make money on? Just merch and pay-per-views?
He makes money off of merch. He makes money off of TV deals. He makes money off of
the app.
Now the app is easily millions of dollars a month.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. Like, I don't know how the UFC, they must be making so much money with that contract in ESPN. Like, I don't know how they didn't do the same thing. That, to me, it's a no-brainer. People that barely watch the fights would pay $10 a month just to get a pay-per-view once a month. And that's a guarantee.
I'm never going to end that subscription, even if it's one fight that I want to watch. Like, I still have a WWE membership. Yep. Like, I'm not watching pay-per-views all the time. It's only $10.
Only reason I have a PC membership is because of WWE stuff. Like, and it
well, that and like
it's the price point.
Yeah, I mean, but then also, how many more of those could they get if they inserted that into a UFC event, and then they said rematch at WrestleMania, rematch at SummerSlam, at Royal Rumble, whatever their next pay-per-view is, and even if
I really think that UFC is missing the casual market.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you this, Richard. What if the same thing happened on these like Jake Paul type fights?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you took a WWE match, now I could see like a WEC versus AEW, or excuse me, WWE versus what is it? Yeah, like and then they go to another organization and wrestle for a match, but I don't know.
Yeah, Vince, I don't think Vince would be down for that. But if you had like AEW guys are. Even like AEW does like stuff with Japan and Impact and a couple other organizations, and they do stuff like that too. Like they have like their champion. They'll have a guy fight like a champion from another organization, and that guy will win their belt, and then he'll take their belt back to AEW, and then everybody will start watching that other organization.
Okay. If they did this, it would be huge. WWE guys in the UFC, real fight. Then you're going to get all your WWE fans to first, like, what? I can watch them really fight and not fake fight? Click on that, right? That's more of the boom of like, now you have everybody interested, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. The Rock and Roman Reigns, cousins. Isn't that right? Aren't they cousins?
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
It's like, yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah, but I do think that's what the UFC misses right now. It's just the casuals. They have their hardcore people.
Yep.
They're missing the casuals,
tough.
like the people, like the people that were going to be dubs and lighten that up. That don't happen anymore, and they're just they lost that market.
Well, I think that they became just like any other sport. It's on all the time, so the fights don't seem as special. Like Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez just fought. That's a main event on almost a main event on a pay-per-view, and they just fought at like 2:00 on a Saturday, you know. And I don't know what those numbers are, but apparently UFC's this was their record-breaking year. And that's during COVID too, which is amazing. Which they never stopped though; they just kept finding a way to, put on fights.
Shows,
yeah. Which I was actually thinking about this too. Like, so they have that. Yeah, no kidding. So they have that Apex Center that they built. So they'll like the Max Holloway fight wasn't in front of a crowd, like maybe like 100 people or whatever. So I almost wonder how much money they save by building that Apex Center and putting on these fight nights, even though they're not getting the gate money, and probably not merch money, but they're just putting out live content, without having to not having to go to Indianapolis to put it on, not having to go to Chicago and put it on, Atlanta, whatever. It's right here in Vegas, our headquarters. Come in here, do the fights, you leave. I mean, I'm assuming they're saving money just by doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever the TV deal is.
If the same thing applies to the WWE, like, that, like Richard said, they're not making any money on Raw. They make it all on TV deals, merch, food, like all the extra stuff. Then
it's almost like they're not even counting on people coming to shows anymore. It's like, it's cool. Just stay home. Just give me my $10, $15 a month, whatever it is, or stupid pay-per-views, $80, which they just keep raising. I heard Dana White complaining about some boxing fight about how much the pay-per-view was. And it was like $5 more than what UFC pays or charges. I was like, what are you doing, stupid? You're doing the exact same thing, man. It's crazy.
And you're a billionaire.
Over again. Is that it, boys?
What's $80 to him?
Half of a penny.
35 cents to you and me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, probably actually.
What?
Give him something. Give him a little something. Go ahead, man. Break it down.
Would you really break it down?
We're just two hunks and a Negro
serving the Lord. About to have church.
We're just two hunks and a Negro singing our song.
That's spiritual.
See if that gets NDA'd on YouTube.
I doubt it. I think it's only if it's on a paywall, right?
Yeah, we won't get hit hard. We'll just get something saying, "Hey, just so you know, if you ever get monetized."
just so you know, your content is racist.
Yeah.
Say, well, hold on.
You just canceled DC Talk.
Or you just